Welcome back, everyone. Well, I'm going to start this interview by saying if there's a more beautiful county in New York State than Washington County, you have to show me. Anybody that's gone through Washington County realizes that not only is it the most beautiful countryside, but that the people themselves are very interesting, and it's a very diverse population. Joining me today, two of the principals in the Economic Opportunity Council in the county of Washington County. And that would be Tyler Whitney, who's a program coordinator,
Yes.
and Claire Murphy, who's the executive director. Well, welcome to both of you.
Thank you
Very nice
very
to
much.
have
Thank you very
here.
much.
Happy to be here.
The reason that we asked them to come in is that Washington County, the Economic Opportunity Council, provides services to families in Washington County that we really want you to know about. Very confusing sometimes to figure out what, organizations do what. But under the umbrella of the Economic Opportunity Council, you're really providing an incredible amount of services to Washington County and its diversified population.
Yes. Absolutely.
Claire, let me just start with you. You're the executive director. Give us just a 30,000-foot view. What is the mission of the Economic Opportunity Council?
As the designated community action agency for the county, our job is to work with children, families, or individuals, families, and communities to identify and help reduce poverty and the effects of poverty, not only on individuals but on the communities themselves. And so we do that through service, we do that through advocacy, and we do that through collaboration with community partners to see that resources are used effectively to help people identify their needs and work towards self-sufficiency.
Wow, really well said. Tyler,
Yeah.
one of the major things that you do is you lock up with the Head Start program.
Right.
A very valuable program. Tell us about the program and tell us, particularly in Washington County, what's going on with that?
Absolutely. So we operate the Head Start Early Head Start programming for Washington County. We have home-based programming and center-based programming. So we have 5 centers across the county from Cambridge up to Whitehall. We have 420 kids enrolled in our program.
Holy mackerel.
It's a lot, absolutely. And we provide a multitude of different services within the Head Start programming, nutritional needs, social needs, educational needs, to make sure that the children are getting a really valuable experience at the Head Start program.
Got you. Now, the Head Start program, as I understand it, is broken out kind of into two divisions there. Not divisions, but two ways of describing it. Early Head Start,
Yeah.
which would be pregnancy to 3-year-olds, correct?
Right.
And then the Head Start program itself, which will actually accept families up to 5 years old. Right. You're talking about a very vulnerable part of our population.
Absolutely.
Right. And when you're talking about poverty, someone who is pregnant, a young family with young children, if they're in that realm of being identified as being part of poverty, they've got a lot of needs, don't they?
They do, absolutely.
Yes. You mentioned some of them, and I'd like to go back on
Yeah.
some of them. You do in-home
Yes.
services,
Yeah.
and you do center-based
Absolutely,
services
yeah.
in those 5 centers.
Yes.
Give us an idea when you go into the home. What is it like?
We're going into the home to work with the family, to give the child all the experience that they get in the center base, but also work with the parents on educational programming, on what they can do at home, reading with their kids, learning with their children, is a very important piece of our home-based programming.
Right. Claire, you had mentioned to me before we went on air, and I thought it was very important, people who come to you with needs, they may not even really understand the scope of what they need. And part of what you've done is identify maybe what might be a short-term problem or an immediate problem, but identified more long-term problems, right?
Correct. I think sometimes, it's important to remember that people for people who live in poverty, their needs are very, very personal. They're theirs, and they're very immediate. And they may not solve problems the way you and I would, but that doesn't make their problem solving any less valuable. By having a conversation and allowing people to identify their needs, you can begin to have a conversation with not just the short-term fix, but what is the long-term fix? And how can you move from meeting your immediate needs to creating a plan to be able to move yourself towards self-sufficiency? And sometimes problem solving with them is not about necessarily giving them what they asked for when they came in, but helping them to identify other resources that might be of assistance so that they can meet the need that they came in with.
Right, and you would be counseling them, right? That's probably the most important thing you can do with an individual is counsel them so they begin to develop a level of trust with you and a relationship with you. Right. You providing certain services yourself, but you also partner with other organizations to help them. Suppose they need transportation, they might need financial help, you know, they might need housing, they might need clothing, right? And you have those kind of partnerships.
We work very closely with our Department of Social Services.
Yes.
We work very closely with the Southern Adirondack Independent Living Center, Glens Falls Hospital, SUNY Adirondack. We work with other not-for-profits, the YMCA in the greater Glens Falls area. We work with Crandall Library, we work with the Tri-County United Way, and we work with the Conkling Center in Glens Falls. And all of it is in recognition of we all have a role in helping support community needs.
Right.
None of us are ever going to be able to do this by ourselves.
Sure, and now you put yourself in the position of the recipient. They're overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed with their own station in life, but then they're completely overwhelmed with where do I go? Where do I go for help?
So we help connect.
Yes,
we help
right,
connect.
got it.
And we help draw the lines for them and help them put the roadmap together that they're going to be able to work with.
So, you know, I think the message out there for our viewers is really twofold. If you're living in Washington County and you think you might need some of these services or you know you need help in certain areas, please contact them. They're right in Washington County, in the Washington County complex there, right? Right on Route 4 in Hudson Falls, right?
Yes.
And also on the other side, they constantly need help. They need donations. They need volunteers, a lot of volunteers. And when we said donations before, when I was talking to Tyler, you know, donations, you think about writing a check, but donations come in many forms. It could be food. Right. It could be clothing. It could be any number of different things, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So please, if you can help, you've got some time on your hands, volunteer and help them. If you want to make a donation of any kind, clothing, food, money, please contact them and donate. I really want to close out with something that you said. All of these stories are very personal, and you had mentioned that you have a drive that you do in the fall to provide families and children with coats.
Yes.
And you noticed someone had come in with a baby, and it was the first time that baby was warm.
Right.
Holy mackerel.
That feeling is an indescribable feeling.
Yes, it is.
Seeing a baby have warmth in their eyes for the first time,
yes.
It's nothing I've ever felt before. Helping our families in our county, helping them get gains towards self-sufficiency is an incredible feeling.
Thank you both very much for coming in. Really appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
And you've got the story. So we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.